Okay, so back to um, the tutorial. So what we've been able to achieve so far from our previous live stream is we've been able to create the backend server, but for now what we are going to do is also create the front end aspect of it. So what I've done so far, not to waste much time, is to create the admin front end aspect of it by running npx create react app admin and then passing the template flag of Redux. All right, so that should create the admin front end, and then that should give you these folders. But then I've gone ahead to clear up some of the code in the app, and then as well also defined our proxy in the package.json, where the proxy is http localhost port 5000, which provides us a path for us to fetch our data from the backend, overriding things like proxy and all of those things. So you make sure you put in your proxy here in the package.json in the admin folder, which is here. Okay, all right. So now what we got, what I've also done is to install concurrently in the in our main root file, in our main root folder, which is this concurrently, which is a dev dependency, which will allow us to run both our backend and then front end service. So with that, we define our script in here by saying concurrently npm run our server, which is this, which will run node MERN and then server, look into the server and then the server.js file, and then the admin will run the npm stat, and we fix it with the admin, which is the package.json in here. Where is it? Yeah, package.json here. So that then ran the npm stat react script, which is here, which runs the react script here. All right, so you start up a React npm run dev, and then that runs our front end application and then the backend server for us. All right, let's wait for that to start. We have that. So let's close up some of the files to avoid confusion. So in the app.js file, what I'd want to do is to test off to see if our backend server is running. So let's bring in use effect from React, and then in here I'll say use effect should just run once, and then let's say get data, and then let's say get data should be an async function, and then with the response, we are using the fetch API, then we are getting our rooms, trying to get rooms. Then let's do console.log. Now let's do our data will be here and our weight as well. And then response.json, and then let's try to see what we get back from the server. So that being done, why are we having these errors? All right, so that fetches us the data. We have the data for the rooms in here. All right. Okay, cool. All right, so what I'll need again is I'll need to install browser router to manage our routes for us to be able to navigate between routes. So let's cd into our admin folder and then npm install react router DOM. So that should install react router DOM. Alright, so let's come back to our main root file folder and run npm run dev to start off our servers again. Alright, that should start off our servers for us. Cool. Everything is running. And then that serve brings up all of that. So we've done the test, and then let's move on. So let's rewrite the app file again. RAFCE. In the new form of React, we don't need to import React. So then what we can do is to bring in React router DOM. What we need is our browser router. Let's say as router. We need our route and then route file. So before we go ahead to as well, let us as well create some of the pages. Create a folder in here, and let's say pages, and then we will need a home folder. I would like to put them in separate folders. So then I'll do home.jsx and RAFCE, and this will export our home function. And then as well we will need for now we are doing the login and then registration authentication aspect of it. So for the login we need the login.jsx, and then as well same thing, and then we need register. We need the register, and then we need the have to create the register.jsx file like that. Save it. So back in the app.js file, what we can then do is to create the route by bringing in our router and then defining our route here, and then with our route and then with that we say with our path, if we hit the home, we want to use the home component. So but then we have to bring in the home from our pages home like that. All right, so that loads the home component for us. So let's bring in the registration and then the login as well. So we bring in the login, and then we'll bring in the register too as well. Okay. All right, so if we are to navigate to, we need two of them. If we are to navigate to the login, which is we want to go to the user login component, and then when we get to the register, we want to use the register component. Pretty simple. Also, to help with the navigation, let us come back to our folder in here, and then create inside our source folder. Let's create a component folder, and then create a header folder, and then inside the let's delete it. Okay, so let's create a new folder in here with the name header, and then let's create the header GSX RACE, and then inside the header folder I would want to also create the header styles.scss. What I failed to mention is that we've installed when you check the package.json file, we've installed Sass, which is what we are going to use to style the page, which is when you check the dependencies. Where is it? Yeah, when you check the dependencies, we have Sass in here. All right, so this is, let's take out that. So back inside our header file, let's bring in the header. Header, and then we place the header somewhere here. Since that is not going to be part of our route, we place it on top of the route component here. So we bring in the header. Unexpected assignment. What was that? One sec. Sometimes React be acting weird, funny. Reference to header is not defined. Are you serious? Refresh. Reference to header is not defined. Why we took out the header? Why do we put header? Right. Oh, so okay, so let's import header, and then we then place the header here. That should bring in header there. Okay, cool. So let's go back into our header file and then create some navigations. So in here, let's change this div to header, and then let's give it a class name of main header, and then I want an h1 with a class name of logo here, and then let's give it the let's say hotel name here, and then this I would want to also put this in a link tag so that we can, let's bring in link from React router DOM, and then let's wrap this in a link tag, and then put the h1 here, Then from there, I'd want to create a nav and then have a link as well. And then this will go to the home. And then let's create two more. This goes to the login, and I'll say login. And then let's go to login. And then let's go to register. Sorry, this goes to register, and then we move to register like that. What did we do? Refresh. All right. Why is React tweaking? That should work. But then I would want to put this in a container to be able to wrap, get our page centered. So let's say this will be a container, and then put our HTML in here. Technically it's not HTML, it is JSX. Anyway, so inside the header.styles, what I'd want to do is to bring in the header styles. So let's come in here and then import header.styles.scSX like that. So, but then I'd also want to just create some basic styling in here, but React comes with these stylings which I don't need. So what I'll do is I'll create margin of 0. So we will have to import this in the app.js file. So I'd want to rename this to an SCSS file here, like that. Let's rename it to app.styles.scSX like that. So back in the app folder, let's import our styles. Okay. All right, cool. So in here, I'll do margin 0, make it bigger. Then I would want it to be 0. Box sizing should be border box, like that. All right, so with the anchor tag, I'll do text decoration none, color I want it to be black, like that. And then also what I'd want to do is to also define the container with a width of 1200 pixel and max width of 90%, and then margin of 0 auto, like that, to place it in the center. Cool. All right, so let's come back to the app.styles.gss and say .main header. Let's see background color red. See what happens. Okay, cool. So inside the container, I'd want to display flex, like that. Align items center, justify content space between, and then I'd want some padding to rem up and down 0, rem left and right. Cool. And then inside the nav I want to display inline block, and then margin left I want to run rem. Cool. And then the font size I want rem as well, and then that should be it. Okay, so if we come back to this, what are we having? The, let's see, header. Let's give this name of hotel. Cool. I say hotel name, like that. Or let's say logo, to keep it simple. Okay, so that should pretty much do it. So if we navigate to login, we have the login. Navigate to register, we have the register. Pretty simple. So back inside the app.styles.gss, I want to define some basic styling. Let's say .heading. I want font size of 2 rem. Text font weight I want 300, and then if I have a center as well added to it, I want the text line should be center. All right. Okay, cool. So let's deal with the login. So inside the login, inside the pages, register first. Inside register.jsx file, what is I want to do is to write up the and say heading dot h1 dot heading dot center. I want, let's say, register, like that. So where we heading, why did we define it? Heading, font/student center. Sorry. Oh, it should be n.center. Cool. So that should bring us to the center. So let's say let's close some of the file. We don't need login for now. We don't need the header stylings and then the header.jsx side register. Let's say .form wrapper. I need a form tag. I don't need an action. And then I want an input group. And then an input. This should be for first. I would want a label. And then that will be for name. That will be for, let's say, name. And then an input with a placeholder, and I'll say enter your name, like that. And then the value will be name, and then on change I'd want to handle change like that. Alright, so what we then have to do is to bring in use state to handle the state. So we can say form data equals to set form data equals to use state. Now have the name to be an empty string, email to be an empty string, password to be an empty string, and then we can then destructure it and bring in the name, email, and then password from our form data. Then we have to also handle the change as well, like that. Hopefully we don't have any errors. Okay, cool. So that pretty much should set up the form for us. And then let us define on submit to as well, which we will have here. Let's handle submit, and then say e.prevent default, like that. That pretty much should take care of. What else do we have? Pretty much should take care of that for us. Let's refresh. No errors. Okay, so back inside this will be a general styles we'll have for both the login and then the register form. So in here we define the form wrapper class here. So then what we can do is we can then state the styling for the form wrapper by saying the width to be let's give it 540 pixel, max width let's give it a 90%, max width let's give it 100%, and bring it to the center like that. Cool. but then let's also put that in a container as well. All right, so inside the app.styles, I then can say that the label should be a display block, margin button. Let's give it 1 rem. Cool. And then the input also will be display block, and then width of 100%. Let's give it some padding, 0.5 rem, 0 rem, and then let's indent the text a bit to the right, 10 pixel. Cool. So, and let's give it a font size of 1.2 rem to make it a little bit bigger. Let's do 1 rem. Cool. So the heading, I'd want to bring it down a bit. So in here, I'll say margin bottom. Let's give it 2 rem. Margin bottom 2 rem, like that. Easy. Okay, cool. So back inside the form, let's define the other fields that we will need. So we'll have the name. Let's copy this input group. Let's copy this for email, and then let's copy this for password. So this will be for email. So we say email should be a text. Let's give it an email text type, and then enter your email, and then that will be for email. Cool. And then we have the email. What do we have here? Let's check. We have the name. I have another name here. Oh. Let's bring this up a bit. So that will be here. All right. And then this will be password. Let's say password. And then the input type will be password. And then we say enter password. And then the value will be password. Cool. So for the input group, I'd want to bring down the I want to bring it down a bit. So I'll say that input group, I'll say margin bottom on that. Like that. All right, that nicely separates that for us. What we need is a button as well. So down here, that should be here. Say button type of submit, and I'll say submit, like that. Okay, so that brings the button here. So then let's go back and say well, we have the button. I want to display block, and then I want the width as well to be 100%. The background color of black, and then the color of white. Let's handle the padding 1 rem, 0 rem, and then font size of 1.2 rem. Let's do 1 rem. Cool. So that's the registration part. So we have the enter your name, enter your email, enter password, like that. If we should submit, nothing happens. But for the button, I want it to be pointer, like that. Say, come in here, click, nothing happens. All right, so coming back to the register, I think we have pretty much the same thing for the login. So let's copy this, come to the login, and then paste it here, and then change some things. We change this to login, and then the export tool will be login, and then we don't need the name, so we take off the name, and then we take out that too as well. Yeah, we take this out too as well. So pretty much that, and then we change the heading to login, like that. Pretty simple, yeah. So we have the enter your email, we have the login, and then the registration created for us. All right, cool. So then we have to create the functionalities for registering and then logging in of the user. All right, so let's create the Redux aspect of it. So we'll come to the features folder. We are not going to change much here. Let's create another folder and then say auth. That deals with the authentication part of it, and then we have to create the auth slice.js. So we import from at Redux toolkit. What we need is the create slice, then create async thunk, and then from there we need the initial state. We want the user to be null, and then it's loading to be false, and then it's success to be false as well, it's error to be false, and then message to be empty. So the initial state, we have the user to be null, and then this loading to be false, is success to be false, is error false, message false. Then we create the export const auth slice. We have to create the slice. we have the name to be auth, then pass the initial state, and then reducers. The only reducer that we would want to have is the reset reducer, which will reset the state back to its original form. Then you say state.is loading should be false, but basically we are bringing everything back to its initial state. So state.is success is false, and state.is error to be false, and then state.message bring it back to the empty string. Alright, so it's loading false like that. And then for our async request, what we need is the extra reducers, which takes builder as a parameter. Then we add our cases here. Say add cases. So from there we then have to export we'd export the auth slice dot reducer. We would also need to export the export the reset as well from the auth slice dot actions like that. So we then have to bring in the auth reducer in store actually. So we don't need the counter, so we say import auth reducer from we have to come up one, and then you need to come into our features auth slice. So we take off this since we are not using it. Then we say auth reducer. That should pretty much. Oh, we had the typo in here. Wasn't defined. Yeah, false. Yeah. So so when we check the Redux aspect of it, when we check the Redux aspect of it, we have the auth coming in here like that. But then again, with the user, we will be putting it in the local storage. So what we can say is that user should be a JSON that pass local storage that get item user. So then what we can say is that if we have the user, or just say the user is now like that. Cool. All right, so from there, then we would have to create the register function so that we can say export const register user will be create async tongue, and then that will be an auth register, takes a name and then an async function. Let's take the user data, and then we need the tongue API, and let's bring in our try catch, and then we return with the tongue API dot reject with value dot reject with value error dot message, like if we have any errors. So from there, then we say that once rest equals to await, we use our fetch API users, and then let's define our headers, and we say content type will be application /JSON, and then the method will be a post, and then the body will be JSON.stringify the user data, like that. All right, so from there we can say if not res.ok, we want to error will be the data that we get back from the backend, which will be our await rest to JSON, and then let's return conf API dot reject with value error. Other than that, we want the data, so we want to pass await this again, and then just return the data. Pretty simple. So we have any errors? No errors. Thank you. So back in the registration file, we have to handle the onChange aspect of it, where we say set form data, we pass the previous state, and then we'd want to return the what was already in the previous state, but then we want to also set the target.name and then e.target.value, like that. Pretty simple. All right, so let's come back to our console, and then on submit, let's just console.log, let's say once data to submit equals to on the name, email, and then password. So let's console log data to submit, like that. So it's not changing, it's not changing, it's not changing. So I think there's a problem somewhere here. On change, handle change. Handle change, it will be called the handle change. First of all, let's correct this. Handle change. Change. Handle change. Yeah. Handle change. Yeah. And then handle change. Yeah. I should reset everything. function change is not working. Let's see if the function is firing forward. See what happens. Okay, function is working. So this takes a value of name. Okay. Oh, we didn't give it a name. So let's say name is equals to name, and then this will be name, email, and then this will be name, password, like that. Pretty simple. Problem solved. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works. Oh, let's say test at gmail at test.com. Alright, cool, everything works. Alright, so to handle the registration, what we need to do is to bring in the functions that we created. So we say import register user first, and then we also will need the reset, and then we will need the use selector, from Redux. So use selector. Let's bring this one here. I want to know when I'm making mistakes. Yeah, okay, go. That goes a long way to help. Okay, so I want to bring in use selector, reset, and then I also want to bring in use dispatch from React router DOM. No, use navigate, sorry. Use navigate, like that. And then use dispatch as well. So I then can say dispatch equals to use dispatch, and then also navigate, use navigate, like that. So from there, I would want to also bring in the user use, then is success, and then from the use selector, which takes the state, and we want the state from the stage.auth. Alright, what did we do wrong? Okay, then as well, I'd want to also bring in use effect from React, like that. Okay, we have our guns coming. We have all our guns coming in. So from there, I'll say use effect and then I want is success. Success. I want the user on the dispatch as dependency, and then navigate. I want to use all you babies. So if there's a change in if it's successful, I want to navigate to login, like that. It's success. Cool. So did we define dispatch? Yeah. So on submit, I'd want to, on submit, I want to dispatch register user, and then I want to pass the data to submit, like that. Easy breezy. So let's bring in moment of truth. Let's say, who do we use? Which basketball player comes to mind? Let's use tests. Let's use my mind is clogged now. So which basketball player comes to mind? Let's use just some names. Billy. Say Billy at gmail.com. Then pass. Let's use password and submit. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. So let's check Redux to see what's the problem. Okay, it actually worked. Let's check the state. False. The success false. Oh, what we didn't do is to add our cases. Sorry. So back in the auth slice, we come back to our cases, and then we say builder.add case, register user dot pending. We take a state, and then we say state that is loading to be true, and then that add case register user dot fulfilled, new the state, then an action, and say state dot is loading to be false, state dot is success to be true, state dot user will be our action dot payload, and then that should be it. And then when it is rejected, register that's rejected. Also have a state and an action. Then we say state dot is loading to be false, state that this error should be true, and state that message should be action dot payload, like that. Simple. Alright, so that should do it for us. Alright, let's try it again. Let's use John Doe. To John at gmail.com, and then let's have a password. Submit. Yeah, everything works. Cool. All right. From here, then let's also create the login user as well. So we say export login user. It's going to be pretty much, let's write it again. The login user will be a function. Where is it? Yeah, we'll create async tongue, and then will be an auth login. It should be an async with the user data as well, and then tongue API. The tongue API. Right. What are you saying? User data tongue API. And let's create our try and catch function. We'll return the tongue API that rejects with value error. That's message. So we make our fetch request /API /users login, and then we need our headers with the content type will be application JSON, and then in the method is post, and then the body will be JSON.stringify. User data, like that. So if that result okay, we return post error equals to await JSON return tongue API dot reject value error. Cool. other than that, we say data, we await JSON, and then we return the data. But then before we do that, we want to put the data in local storage. So we say local storage dot set item user with the JSON dot stringify with the data, like that, and then we return the data, something like that. Do we have any errors? Cool. So let's come down and add our cases. So we add the case of login user dot pending. We have our state, and we say state is loading is false. Yeah, true actually. And then we have another case of that fulfilled. We pass our state and then our action, and we say state dot is loading equals to false. State dot user equals to our action dot payload. Yeah, state dot success equals to true. Then from there, if it is, we add a case. If it is fulfilled, loading should be false, state success should be true, action dot payload, yeah. And then add another case where if it is rejected, so still have our state, and then our action, state dot is loading to be false, state that is error to be true, state that message to be an action that pay, like that. All right. Did you export it? Did you export the login? Okay, so let's go over it. So we name it login, should be an async login function. Await fetch API uses login. Content type, headers content type should be application JSON. The method should be post, like that. Cool. So back inside the, are we in the login? Cool. Back inside the login GSX, let's copy some things from the, let's copy some things from the onChange. So we'll need all this. So inside here, onChange, let's bring you here, but then we made some few changes here. Bring in the name, email, and then in here bring the name to be password. Okay, then handle change. What's this? And then handle change. Gucci. Do we have any errors? Gracefully not. So let's check if the unchained works. Okay, so the unchained works. The password works. Okay. Then on the register, we'll still need all of this. Bring you here and submit. Actually, let's bring you here. We need you here. We do not dispatch this. We will have to dispatch login user. Let's bring you in like that, and then let's bring in reset, and then what we actually have to do is also dispatch reset here. Yeah, like that. So we will need inside here we will need a reset, and then we will need all of this. Use effect. We already have that. That's what I am complaining about. Oh, don't need anything. And then we don't need this. We need it here. And then we will need all of this. We need all of that. And then we'll need all of this. It's pretty much the same thing, so there's nothing wrong with copying and pasting, but just that you have to be a bit careful like that. For now, let's navigate to the home page. and then dispatch reset like that. Cool. So dispatch login user, and then we pass data to submit like that. Cool. So let's submit. Plus, cool. Works. So let's check our reducer, user, the brand assignment. Cool. Actually, what I want to do is to navigate to dashboard, and then we end the tutorial there. Let's say dashboard like that. So let's come back to our pages and then create a new folder and say dashboard, and then create a new file and say dashboard.js like that, RAFCE, and then let's bring the h1.heading.center, say dashboard, and then inside let's define a route for that. So in here, what I'll do is when we hit the dashboard, I want to bring in the dashboard component. So let's navigate to dashboard. Bring in the dashboard. But also, I'd also want to check if we have the user first inside the dashboard. So what I want to bring is import use selector from Redux, and then I want to import use effect from React, and then I'd want to also bring in use dispatch. So in here I'll say const navigate, use navigate, and then also const use dispatch like that. And then from there I'll say I want to get the user from the auth state by using use selector, which takes a state, and then state.auth like that. So with the use, is everything working? With the use effect, I want to pass that, and then always check when user changes. Say if not user, I want to navigate to login like that. So that should keep us here. Cool. So the last thing that I'd want to do is I'll do that when we, or should we finish it? Let's finish it. All right, so back inside the features component, if let's bring in the header. Inside the header file here, what I want to do is to conditionally render some of the component. So I'll say let's bring in use selector, and let's check if we have the user. Yeah. All right, so in here, if we have user, I would want to conditionally render some of the component and say if there's user, do something. Other than that, put it in these bad boys. And then other than that, I'd want to do the same thing, but I'd want to render different stuff. So I'd want to say something like create, let's say rooms, create, and then let's give this one create, and then let's just have a button here, and then let's say logout, like that. Cool. So inside the app .styles .js, which is here, did we define the header? No, it will be in the header styles. So it's usually, that's more of the reason why I like to define some of my styles in my component, so it becomes easier to trace. So when there's a button, I want the outline none, cursor to be pointer, font size to be 1 rem, like that. Display inline block margin left 1 rem, same thing, and then border none, like that. Okay, so don't need this, you don't need this, so we don't need the dashboard, so we don't need this. All right, so back in the auto slice, what I want to do is we say const export const logout user, and to also create a thing thunk, and then should be an auth logout, and it should be an async pass that we are not passing in any data, so we use an underscore and say thunk API, and that should bring us with the try catch, and we will return, then we say thunk API dot reject with value error dot message, same as we used to do, and then we can say rs should be await fetch API users logout, like that. So if not res dot okay, we define our error, and then thunk API dot reject with value error. Other than that, we still want our same data, and then return the data, like that. Yeah, pretty much. So let's go right. So if it's auth logout, we have the thank API was for the API users logout, and then yeah. So for the local storage, I say remove user from local storage. So we say local storage dot remove item user, like that. Then we return the data and we do whatever it is, but let's add the cases for it. So let's add case of logout user dot, and then takes a state, and then state dot is loading to be false, state dot that's basically what we would do. Then let's add another case, logout user for failed, takes a state, then an action, state dot is and then this should be true, sorry, it's loading to be state dot is loading to be false, state dot is success to be true. We really do not need any, we really do not have anything to do with, we do not need the action.payload for anything. So but then also we would want to set the user to be null, then add another case for the in case it is rejected. Rejected takes a state, then an action, then state that is loading to be false, state that is error to be true, then state that message should be action pay, but like that. So did we export the logout? Okay, so logout user, we exported it. Okay, cool. So back in the header, when we click on the logout button, we want to handle logout. So let's define that function up here. Handle logout should be an async function. And then we need the use dispatch from React router DOM, and then we say const dispatch plus use dispatch, like that. And then we'll also need to bring in the logout function, but logout user, like that. And then let's also reset, like that. So when it happens like that, let's dispatch to let's dispatch the logout user, and then dispatch the reset as well. Okay, so moment of truth. Cool, everything works. Easy breezy. So let's log in, get to the log, let's log out. Alright, so that'll be it for today. This patch is kind of like a bit tricky to understand. I mean, Redux is a bit tricky to understand, but immediately you get a hang of it, you pretty much realize that it's just straightforward. So you just will have to practice a bit with Redux, and I'm sure you get a hang of it. All right. Okay, so let's commit our code to GitHub, and then we end it here. So say git status, so git add, git commit update, then say added admin section, admin font section, get push origin must. Cool. All right, so that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll come back with the next part of the tutorial on how we can create our booking, and then create the rooms, and then also create the part for the front end for the user to create their bookings, and we manage the bookings from there. All right, so thank you for watching. Bye.